Hey, wow, okay. Starting this feels heavy, like trying to lift something impossibly weighted down. I don't really do this, Putting my life out there, especially this. But I'm sitting here, night after night, staring at the ceiling, feeling like I'm drowning. And I thought, maybe talking about it, just speaking it into the void, maybe that helps crack the surface? Or maybe, just maybe, someone out there, you're staring at your own ceiling right now, feeling the same kind of suffocating silence. I don't know. Feels like a long shot, but here I am, right? So, the reason I'm here, the reason everything feels like it's coated in thick, gray sludge. My wife had an affair. Is having one? The grammar feels absurdly unimportant right now. The fact is, it happened, is happening, and it feels like a grenade went off in the middle of our living room, and I'm just standing here amidst the wreckage, trying to figure out which way is up. We've been married almost 10 years, coming up on a decade next spring. Seems like a lifetime ago now, a completely different era. We built a life, or at least I thought we did. We have 2 kids, 2 incredible whirlwind, amazing little humans. My son, he's 6. He's got this boundless energy, this insatiable curiosity about everything. Always, why, Daddy? Why? And my daughter, she just turned 4. She's my little firefly. All bright smiles and fierce determination in a tiny package. They are everything. My reason for breathing, honestly, especially now. They were supposed to be our reason, the center of our universe. That's the picture I carried in my head. Anyway, apparently I was the only one looking at it that closely. Look, I'm not going to sit here and pretend life was some fairy tale. It wasn't. We had the usual stuff. Work stress, financial pressures that came and went, the bone-deep exhaustion that comes with raising young children. We argued about dumb things. Who forgot to take the trash out, who gets control of the remote, the classic stuff. Normal life friction. But underneath it all, I genuinely believed we were anchored, solid. I thought the foundation, the bedrock of US, was strong. We still laughed, We had inside jokes. We made plans, talked about holidays where the kids would go to school, growing old together. Maybe on a porch somewhere. We were a team. That's what I signed up for. That's what I thought I had. Partners navigating this messy, beautiful, exhausting thing called life. Together. Maybe I was naive. Maybe I wore rose-tinted glasses. I know marriage isn't effortless. Takes constant work, attention, watering, whatever analogy you want to use. And yeah, there were times we felt disconnected. Busy ships passing in the night. Stressed. Tired. But I always believed we'd find our way back to shore. Back to each other. Maybe that was my mistake. Assuming. Maybe I wasn't paying close enough attention to the currents pulling her away. Maybe I was too focused on my own map. The discovery. God, it wasn't some dramatic movie scene. No catching them in the act. No tearful confessions over dinner. It was quieter, more insidious, which somehow feels dirtier. It started with a feeling. That low hum of something's not right. A subtle shift in the atmosphere at home. Then, specific things. Her phone became surgically attached to her hand, angled away from me. Late nights working or meeting friends that felt off. Vague answers where there used to be details. A new password on her laptop. Little things that individually seemed explainable, dismissible. But together, they started forming a picture I desperately didn't want to see. I remember this one night. She was supposedly asleep. Her phone lit up on the nightstand. Just a preview of a message. Nothing explicit, but the name. It wasn't someone I knew from her work or our friend circle. And the timing, past midnight. My heart just dropped. That icy dread that starts in your gut and crawls up your spine. I pushed it down. For days, weeks maybe, tried to rationalize it. It's nothing. You're tired, you're imagining things. Don't be that guy. Because the alternative meant facing the possibility that my entire life was built on a shaky foundation, maybe even a lie. And who wants to face that? But the knot in my stomach didn't loosen, tightened. The weirdness continued. The distance grew. It wasn't just tiredness. It was a deliberate pulling away, an emotional vacancy when I tried to connect. And then I reached a point where I couldn't not know. The not knowing, the suspicion was eating me alive. I did things I'm not proud of. Checked phone records. Looked at messages when she left her computer open. Each discovery felt like another physical blow. Confirmation wasn't a single moment. It was a series of sickening realizations. Finding the concrete proof. Seeing the words, the plans, the affection directed at someone else. It was like the world tilted off its axis. Everything went silent, but also deafeningly loud inside my own head. Like static and a ringing bell all at once. Disorientation, numbness, followed by this tidal wave. Pure, unadulterated pain. Betrayal that felt like acid in my veins. White-hot anger. Confusion swirling around it all. I physically felt like I couldn't get enough air into my lungs. I just sat there for, I don't know how long. Minutes? Hours? Staring at the screen or the piece of paper or whatever it was, and feeling utterly hollowed out, like someone reached inside and scooped out everything that mattered. Every shared laugh, every I love you, every plan we ever made, suddenly felt cheap, counterfeit, a performance, and my very first coherent thought cutting through the fog of shock was the kids, their faces, their innocent, trusting eyes. Oh my God. The kids. What does this mean? How do you even begin to navigate this nightmare without shattering their world? That thought alone was crushing, utterly crushing. Finding out is shattering. But living in the immediate aftermath, day in, day out, under the same roof, that's a special kind of psychological torture I wouldn't wish on my worst enemy. It's the pretending that kills you slowly, the constant vigilance, the forced normalcy for the sake of the little ones. The confrontation wasn't a yelling match. Not initially. It happened in the kitchen, I think. Late one night after the kids were asleep. The air was already thick with unspoken tension. I couldn't hold it in anymore. I just asked her, laid out what I knew, quietly, my voice shaking probably, and she crumpled. There were tears, of course. Denials at first, then half-truths, then finally, the admission, followed by the I'm so sorry, the I didn't mean for this to happen, the I was confused, I felt lonely, all the lines that sound like excuses when your world is imploding. And in that moment, honestly, her reasons felt like static, white noise, insulting almost. All I could feel was the depth of the betrayal. The person I chose, the person I trusted with my vulnerability, my future, the mother of my children, made a conscious decision day after day, week after week, month after month, however long it was, to deceive me, to step outside our marriage, our family, to risk this devastation, our kids' sense of security, everything. The why felt insignificant compared to the what she did. The nights since then, they're the longest. Sometimes we're in the same bed, a literal chasm between us wider than the mattress. The silence is heavy, punctuated only by the sound of breathing, maybe stifled crying. Sometimes hers, mostly mine if I'm brutally honest, usually after she's asleep. Other nights, one of us retreats to the couch or the spare room. Doesn't matter. Sleep is fleeting anyway. My mind just races, replaying conversations, searching for clues I missed, analyzing her tone, her expressions from months ago. Was she lying then? When did this really start? Did she ever truly love me? You torture yourself with unanswerable questions. You scrutinize every memory, looking for the cracks you were too blind to see. And the days, Christ, the days are a performance. You get up, you make breakfast, you pack lunches, you get the kids dressed, you listen to their chatter about dinosaurs or princesses. You have to smile, you have to engage. Drop-offs, pickups, playtime, bath time, bedtime stories. All while feeling like your internal organs are being shredded. You see her across the breakfast table, handing our daughter juice, and you feel this bizarre cocktail of rage, heartbreak, and numbness. How can she act so normal? How can I? You look at your kids' faces, completely unaware of the earthquake shaking their foundations. They hug you, they demand your attention, they tell you they love you, and each innocent gesture feels like a knife twist. Because you know their world is fundamentally altered, even if the visible cracks haven't shown yet. And this overwhelming guilt washes over you. Even though you weren't the one who broke the vows, you feel like you failed them. Failed to protect them. Failed to keep their family intact. Failed to give them the secure, happy home you always dreamed of providing. We try talking. Occasionally, when the kids aren't around. It usually devolves quickly into defensiveness on her part, accusations on mine, rehashing the same painful points, tears, frustration, more silence. We're not communicating, we're just inflicting more wounds. There's too much raw pain, too much anger, too much broken trust to have a rational conversation right now. It feels impossible. My own emotions are a tangled mess. I swing violently from this deep, aching sadness where I can barely function, to moments of intense, blinding anger. Anger at her, anger at the other person, anger at the situation, anger at myself for not seeing it, for being here now. Then there are confusing moments, ghosts of the love I felt, the shared history, a flicker of wanting to salvage something. For the kids. For the 10 years we invested, is there anything left to save? Or am I just clinging to debris in a shipwreck? And then there's the sheer, soul-crushing exhaustion. The emotional labor of pretending, of managing my own turmoil while trying to be a present father. It drains every last drop of energy. By the time the kids are asleep, I just collapse. There's nothing left for me. Nothing left for thinking clearly, for making decisions, for figuring a way out of this maze. I've told a couple of people. My sister, one close friend. It's incredibly hard to say the words out loud. Feels shameful, like admitting failure. You brace yourself for pity, or judgment, or advice you don't want. People mean well, but nobody really knows what to say. How can they? And explaining the situation, the nuances, the daily agony, it's exhausting in itself. So mostly I just keep it inside, let it fester, which I know isn't healthy, but it feels like the only option sometimes, just surviving moment to moment. So, the big question, what happens now? Where do we go from here? Everyone asks that implicitly or explicitly, and the brutal, honest truth is, I have no damn idea. None. There's no roadmap for this particular kind of hell. There's no quick fix. No easy answers. We are coexisting in the same house, but orbiting each other warily, like unwilling roommates bound by shared responsibilities and shared history. It's this suspended animation, this excruciating limbo. We breathe the same air, but we're worlds apart. Have we talked about the future? Yes. In fragments. Snippets of conversations snatched in between kids' demands or collapsing into exhausted silence. Counseling? Maybe. Separation? Maybe. Reconciliation? Feels like a mountain too high to climb right now, maybe ever. Divorce? The word itself feels like dropping another bomb, this time squarely on the kids. Every potential path seems littered with landmines and heartbreak. Staying feels unbearable some days. Leaving feels impossible because of the kids. How do you choose between two terrible options? How do you calculate which one causes the least amount of damage? Life now, it's defined by fragility. Tension is the default setting in our house. A dropped cup, a forgotten errand, a slightly wrong tone of voice. It can all shatter the fragile peace. We navigate conversations like minefields. We put on the mommy and daddy show for the kids, plastering on smiles, forcing cheerful tones, and the effort is immense. Sometimes we pull it off. Other times, the strain shows. The kids, they're perceptive. They might not know what's wrong, but I see them sometimes, watching us. A little furrow in my son's brow. My daughter getting clingier. And that just rips me apart. What's changed in me, permanently, I think? Trust. My fundamental belief in trust. It's been shattered. Not just trust in her, but trust in my own judgment. Trust in the future. Trust in the idea that things work out. Everything feels precarious now. Unstable. Like I'm walking on ground that could give way at any moment. That sense of security I took for granted? Gone. Evaporated. It's a deeply unsettling way to live, feeling so exposed, so vulnerable. I'm not looking for silver linings here. Feels insulting to even try right now. But if this nightmare has forced anything on me, it's maybe a brutal understanding of resilience? Not the heroic kind. The gritty, ugly, day-by-day kind. Just the act of getting out of bed when all you want to do is disappear. The act of packing that lunchbox, reading that story, managing a smile for your child when your heart is splintered. Maybe that's not strength, maybe it's just parental autopilot, survival instinct. Whatever it is, it's the only thing keeping me functional. It's also taught me, or rather seared into me, the profound physical reality of emotional pain. Betrayal isn't just a concept. It's an ache in your chest, a weight on your shoulders, a sickness in your stomach. It changes how you see the world, how you hear music, how you taste food. Colors everything. And through it all, the only pure, uncomplicated thing left is my love for my kids. Their hugs are anchors. Their ridiculous knock-knock jokes are lifelines. Their complete dependence on me, their unwavering belief that daddy can fix anything. Even though right now I feel like I can't fix anything. That's my fuel. That's the non-negotiable. They are the reason I haven't walked out the door, the reason I haven't completely shattered into a million pieces. Thinking about their future, wanting to protect them as much as humanly possible from this mess. That's the only clarity I have. So that's the situation. Raw, unfiltered, messy as hell, painful, complicated, and I am struggling, deeply, every single damn day. I don't have a neat bow to tie this up with. I don't have profound lessons learned or a clear path forward to share. Because this isn't a story with an ending yet. It's just my life right now. Chapter indeterminate. I don't know why I recorded this, really. Maybe just to not feel so utterly alone in this. Maybe hearing someone else articulate this specific kind of pain help someone else feel less alone too? I hope so. If you're going through this or anything like it, man, it's indescribably hard. Be kind to yourself if you can. That's what I'm trying to do. Anyway, one foot in front of the other, one breath at a time. That's all any of us can do, right?